All right, I'm back. So this will be the second part of the Dressrosa review, and it has been wonderful so far. I can't wait to finish it. Standout characters being Robin, my sweet, darling, beautiful girl who still terrifies me. Love her so much. Um, Usopp, God Usopp now. I thought that was a joke. I've seen that phrase used online. I thought it was a meme or a joke about something, and it's a thing, and I love it. The cannibal guy, Bartholomew. I love this man. He is me if I was in the One Piece world, just gushing over the Straw Hats and fangirling like crazy over them. Yes, love this man. Protect him at all costs. Law, of course, is wonderful. He is regretting all his life choices that led him to the Straw Hats, but it's perfect, and he's going to come to appreciate them. I have a thought that we'll talk about later. And of course, the wonderful Monkey D. Luffy is a standout in every moment he is in. Gotta love this boy. So I left off last time with the reveal that Sabo was alive, and now we gotta talk about the setup, which I completely missed, and the comment section and questions in the community tab had set me up to see it, and I still failed. So on one of the cover pages, 667, one of the questions in one of the previous community post questions had been like, hey, take a look at this one, what do you see? And I'm just like, oh, it's so nice to see the passage of time. It is showing Ace and Whitebeard's funeral statues memorial. And I'm just so upset and still sad and heartbroken by the loss of my beloved Whitebeard that I'm just like, oh, it shows that people are still coming to pay their respects. Some time has passed. And yeah, it's just a nice little moment in the manga to see the world is moving on. And again, people still respect and love these two fallen pirates. There are 3 cups in the bottom, the little sake cups with the bottle, and it was like that would be the foreshadowing that Sabo had came to this memorial to pay his respects and say goodbye to Ace, and he is still alive, and I did not see it at all. So can't wait for a reread of this series. But I'm also just kind of stuck because that means that he learned of his brother's death and grieved that loss and knew what Luffy must have been going through and went to this memorial, didn't know where Luffy is, didn't know how to contact him. They died, Ace died not knowing he was alive, and he had to grieve his brother, and then it's just, why didn't he reveal himself to Ace and Luffy? I'm sure there's a reason with the revolution and his job, and he probably just always figured that they would eventually meet up. Like, they're all having their separate journeys, and he'd be like, oh, it'll be a big deal and a big reveal, and they'll be so happy to see me, we'll all come together again. And he had to grieve knowing that he didn't, like, reach out to Ace in time before his death. Probably never thought that his older brother would ever die before him, that anyone could touch Ace, because Ace was always the best, and Sabo's close second, then Crybaby Baby Luffy. He was probably worrying about Luffy, not Ace, and then he has to go to his brother's memorial, having never met up with him again since they were children. That is just heartbreaking. Like, I'm probably thinking too much into this and his backstory and everything, but I don't think so. So Oda's gonna have me crying over 3 cups next to the memorial. He is. I'm very upset, and Oda is a master. Setting up where we left off, we have now Sabo taking Lucy's place in the Coliseum Battle Royale. We're into the finals. And Rebecca is also there, and she got in when everyone in her group had been taken out by this weird smoke power thing, and it turns out that the guy whose name sounds like Cabbage, blonde hair with the rose and all, cares about fame. When he falls asleep or passes out or gets knocked out, a demon version of him kind of takes over and just knocks everybody out. So I need more on that. Are we doing like Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, or just other kind of monster inside? I'm all down for it. So she's there. Some other ones are there, and there's a fish in the arena that has the flame fruit, fire fruit, devil fruit attached to it, and we see Sabo fighting, and I love this man. He is terrifying. He has like dragon claw type fighting, and it's so different than Luffy, and there's a couple panels where he's scary looking when he's fighting, like menacing, I intend to inflict harm, and I'm so excited to see more from him. He of course gets the flame fruit, and he's at, even before that, when he's walking into the Coliseum, the moment that solidified for me, like, okay, I love this man, is because when he walked in and they're all screaming, "Hey, Lucy's here!" The up and comer underdog came from nowhere, didn't expect him to be the one on top. He walks in and he's just like, "Watch me now, Ace," or something like that. And then when he gets the flame fruit and inherits Ace Will, his past power, he's like, "Sorry, I have to steal your move." And the fire around him as he crashes around the arena, and he doesn't quite have the same control, but you know he'll learn, and you know he's going to respect Ace's memory and use this power to protect Luffy and fight the good fight. Like, it's so good to see. So I didn't go too much into it last time, but Sugar is the one working for Doflamingo who is turning everybody into toys, and that's the ones that the little people, Usopp and Robin and all them, are going after, as well as Frankie, but we'll get to Frankie in a minute. And she turns them into toys. So all the failed competitors from this Coliseum Battle Royale thing go to her rather than a medical bay, and she turns them all into toys. We also have a cut for outside the Coliseum where the Navy men are waiting for pirates to come out to in order to arrest them, being like, I think they're looking at a clipboard or something like that. And she's like, "Who's this name? Like, why are they? Is this a pirate? I don't recognize them." Like, they're forgetting the pirates, like why they're even there, because all the pirates that they want to arrest have been turned to toys, and therefore their memories are erased. And then Sugar is just absolutely terrifying because she's an adult whose body has been frozen, trapped in this child body, and then turning everyone to toys and erasing those memories. And that is a terrifying power because anyone who opposes Doflamingo in any kind of way, that he just has them turn into a toys and erases the upbringing that they're trying to start. So anyone trying to rebel against him, you're a toy, everyone forgets about you, there's no one to cause an uprising, I'm safe. And yeah, it is really nice to see that the Sugar only made a mistake one time when instilling the contract on the toy. So normally she's like, "Do not harm the humans," which I'm interested if that's her addition to the contract, or if Doflamingo wanted them to just seem to be peaceful and therefore not fight any of the humans. I'm wondering who put in that part of the contract, but also like serve the family, do whatever Doflamingo says, and you're going to work until you die. So she only forgot to say that once, and that was with the toy soldier, who we know is Rebecca's father. So then we get his whole backstory as well. So he was a violence person who killed some people, and he was arrested and put in the Coliseum, and the king said, "We'll release you if you win like 1,000 battles." So he wins like 1,000 in a row, no problem whatsoever. And he kind of wants to leave, but everyone's against him. It's like, "You're a murderer, you're scum, how dare you." So the only place he's really respected is in this Coliseum because everyone's cheering him on because all these warriors from all around the world are coming to fight this undefeated champion gladiator guy. So he continues to stay in there and just wins 3,000 battles until the king himself goes undercover and fights him, and the king loses, and the king's just like, "You have served your time, you are a different man now, you've changed, you've learned the value of, I don't know, life or respect or something, like why are you continuing to punish yourself? Come out." So he comes out, he becomes a captain of the guards. One of the princesses is still not forgiving him. Is like, "I don't trust you, how dare you." She ends up getting kidnapped, he goes to save her. She had said previously, "Don't you ever touch me," and he's just like, "Oh my god, I had to touch you to save you, I'm sorry, forgive me." And she's just like, "Oh no, thank you for saving me, you're a good person." They fall in love, they want to get married, but then the people are apparently just like, "Even though we like you as captain of the guards, we don't want you to marry the princess." So to prevent unhappiness among the people, they fake the princess's death and they go off and have a family, and it's fine, and Rebecca is born, and the king, who is absolutely fine with his daughter faking her death, goes, and he gets to be grandpa, and everyone's happy. And then Doflamingo comes and crashes everything down and destroys everything and burns everything. And the father, toy soldier guy, Kraos, maybe, it's like, "I have to go, I have to protect my people, the king, I need to save him." So he runs off, and he ends up getting his leg chained around with a big ball and chain on it. And he's watching as Doflamingo's probably going to kill the king and attack them. and in a move that Zoro would respect, cuts off his own leg to run after, protect the king, save him, gets turned into a toy, and then has everyone forget about him, only to try to make it back to his wife, who no longer remembers him, sees her shot and killed, carries her dying slash unconscious slash dead body back to Rebecca, and he has to watch his daughter grieve, not being able to hold or comfort her. And then the only thing he can offer her, this daughter that he loves, that he refused to touch growing up, other than unless he was wearing gloves, because he didn't feel the metaphorical blood on his hands. He didn't want to taint her with it. He has to he has to teach her how to fight to defend herself, because he can't defend her anymore. And he does that because it's the only way to protect her and try to keep her safe in this hellscape they're now in. And then later on, now in the present timeline, he's talking about how he's a toy, and a toy outgrows like a child and falls apart. It's not supposed to last all their life. So he's going to try to use what little time he has remaining to get Doflamingo off the throne, save the kingdom, to create a world where his daughter can be safe. I love this soldier. He's fantastic. So he is working with the little people, dwarves, and they're gone off to destroy the SOP location or something like that. No, maybe that was the plan's name. Something, destroy the factory. Gotta stop, and they have to stop Sugar. So Franky goes off separate because he can't go into the tunnels. He can't squeeze through. So he's gone to destroy the factory. So Team Franky's on his own. And then Team Usopp and Robin are with the little people and the toy soldier to go stop Sugar, to reverse and turn all the toys back to normal. And they have a plan because Sugar just eats these grapes all the time, but they have like a Tabasco sauce one that they feel will knock her out, and they're going after that. Now, the little ones think that Usopp is this great warrior and will win and protect them when the time comes, and Usopp is just playing right into it. Yeah, I'll be the backup plan and to make sure everything ends up okay, but you guys go out ahead. Robin is playing decoy to get the bodyguard away from Sugar, and it works very well until the facade fades. He attacks her, only for it to reveal to be one of her clones. I love that she can make clones of herself. And the little ones are attacking Sugar, only to be turned into toy bears. Robin, my darling, sweet baby girl, I love Robin so very much. In attempting to attack Sugar, uses her powers and her multiple hands, but touches her and therefore doesn't think, and Robin gets turned into a toy. My darling love, who deserves all the happiness in the world, who fought and gave her life to protect the Straw Hats, who would rather die than live to see a world where her friends betray her. That's how much she loved them, and didn't want to risk CP9 going after them and the Buster Call and giving up everything for the sake of the Straw Hats, to never believing she could live a good life, just never even dreamed she could live, had her friends declare war on the world government for her, finally finding a place to belong, only for her to be erased from the memories of them when she's turned into a toy. They forgot her. I was not okay with this. Thankfully, Oda did not traumatize me with Robin having that realization of, oh my god, they don't remember me anymore. I am lost to my family. Because she has utmost faith that Usopp and the rest of the Straw Hats will take care of it, and she will be back. She never needs to draw on that. But yeah, I was going into an emotional spiral because my darling girl Robin deserves happiness, not heartbreak. And now, I have always loved Usopp. I swear I have, but it's more been an appreciation. I have appreciated the position he finds himself in. I'm a sucker for the coward who has forced themselves to overcome their fears for the sake of their friends, and Usopp has done this many times in the past. Namely, like, say, Fishman Island, he's running, but then he turns and fights. It's always been great when he overcomes a struggle, and he has always been an important part of the crew, whether that be lying and telling stories, getting them in and out of situations, or being just an A-plus sniper. Side note, because I will forget it later, Doflamingo does, when listing out the Straw Hat crew, does say Sniper King is a member of Luffy's gang, and I'm like, no, Usopp, not Sniper King. Completely different characters, obviously. So, now we have Usopp, who is on his own. He has forgotten that Robin is a member of his crew, so he doesn't know that he has any kind of backup. The little ones have all been taken out, and he's just saying, I'm sorry, I can't do this, you're on your own, I can't save you, I'll live, I'll tell stories about you, I'll get a statue made or something like that, I gotta get out of here. And the bodyguard guy in Doflamingo's group who protects Sugar is mocking these little ones. You've been fooled. You're so gullible. You actually thought that Usopp would come and save you. No one can save you. You're done. You're finished. And Usopp has enough. It's just like, yes, I'm a coward. He admits to the little ones that I've been lying to you. I am not a great hero, but you know what I am? I'm going to take this guy down. And he fights them with everything he got, all the sharpshooting, all the technology he has, all his bag of tricks, and it's not enough. Beaten bloody, he falls to the ground, and Sugar comes up, and she takes that Tabasco sauce great ball, and it's just like, this is poison, you were trying to poison me, you failed, so take this. She puts it in his mouth, he bursts up, terrifying face of like, oh my god, this is really painfully hot, and it's enough to scare and shock her to make her pass out and lose control of her powers, and all the toys are back to normal, and Robin is back and everything's fine. My love is okay. But that is just the perfect way to wrap all that up, with him turning around to fight, getting beaten up, and then just doing something so silly that it ends up being a win. And to make the best of it, the absolute best, okay, the Coliseum fight is happening at the same time. So Sabo has cracked the stadium, the light is shining in, just as Usopp knocks out Sugar, and all the toys turn back into their pirate forms, their human forms, and they're just like, oh my god, and they're looking at Usopp, being like, this is a god, he's sent from heaven. They hold him up and praise and being like, God Usopp, he has saved us. So now we have the cult of Buggy, and we have the religion that is Usopp, our savior, God Usopp. And I love that. These two characters can just continue to fall upwards. I am a-okay with that. One of my favorite moments too that had me cracking up, Usopp, in like a very broken speech, is saying, you fools, like, put me down, but he's only uttering every other like syllable or something, so they hear like, follow me or something like that, and it was just wonderful. This, sadly, the love that he is having showered upon him and praised does not last long, as Doflamingo's little contest starts later, which we'll get to in a minute. Okay, I want to talk about Fujitora before we go too far into this. So Fujitora meets up with Doflamingo, and they should be on the same side, because the warlords and the Navy admirals. Yeah, cool, totally. Fujitora hates this man and compares him to what happened with Alabasta, or Arabasta, words. But saying that this kingdom is what Crocodile would have made of Vivi's country had someone not stopped him, and he's voting for like the destruction or takedown and removal of warlords in general. He wants to see that entire system crumbled. And Dofi's just like, haha, what are you gonna do about it? They start fighting, but then they stop, and he realizes, hey, I'm technically still on your side, so you gotta do what I say. And Fujitora goes off to stop the Straw Hats, except he's not trying that hard, because Sabo shows up, my darling love, and he declares, he says, yeah, Luffy is my brother. I will always come to his aid. I will always protect him. I will not grieve or lose another brother. And they fight. And by the end, like, Fujitora is calling down meteors, but again, we'll get to the birdcage after, but it's getting stopped and sliced up and just causing more damage. So he places his bets also in the Straw Hats. It's not outright stated, but it's like, I think they're both hoping that they'll just have a stalemate down here for appearance's sake and mitigating the damage to the civilians. but they're hoping that Luffy will be the one to take down Dofi up there, and that's absolutely wonderful. All right, so Luffy has escaped the Colosseum. He has met up with Zoro, and they are, and Kinemon as well. They're running towards the palace, and they meet up with Violet or Viola. So I didn't mention last time, but she's actually the princess and is the reason that her father, the king, wasn't killed. So she agreed to join the Doflamingo family in exchange for her father's life. And if I haven't said this before, I think I did, I really, really, really like her as a character. So being able to go undercover, not undercover, but among the people who killed her family for the sake of keeping the rest of her family alive or destroyed her kingdom to protect what's left of her family. Then acting like a crazy person and what happened her relationship or short dynamic with Sanji, and then immediately betraying Doflamingo when she's like, all right, this is my best bet on taking him down, so I'm going to take it. I love her powers, and she works so well with Usopp later on, which we'll get to. I really, really like her character. I know she's not going to join the crew. She's going to end up staying here in Dressrosa, but I really, really, really like her, like more than I should. So she meets up with them and shows them like a secret passageway to get in a little bit more quietly. They go, they're dressed up as like a cat, a koi fish, and something else at one point, and it's really cute and funny. And they're like, okay, we gotta be really stealthy and silent. And then in the background, she's like, hey, what's that koi fish doing? And Luffy has just busted down the front gates, nothing subtle about it. And they're like, all right, let's lose the disguises and keep going. And they're running, but they run into Pika, who is a stone man kind of thing, and he has become the fortress and the palace. He can manipulate all the stone that touches his body. So a massive creature that's just attacking them, and Zoro has to stay behind to hold him off. And their fight is really good, and later on they continue their fight, and you see the future world's greatest swordsman take this man out. I might as well talk a little bit more about the Doflamingo family. So I really like one of the elements being, so Pika has this really high-pitched, squeaky, funny voice, I think. It doesn't match him and people want to laugh at him, but they can't laugh at him because Doflamingo considers him family. And the idea, if it's not obvious, I absolutely love the character who protects and would kill for and would die for their found family more than anything. So the fact that Doflamingo's group is their family, or is his family, and how protective of them he is, I really, really love that addition to his character. I hate him, and he is evil and a manipulative bastard, but I really love that element of his character. So even when some high priority members of his family fail him, they're like, I think it was was it Luffy we let get away, or Sabo got the devil fruit, or whatever. They were talking about, we failed you, we're sorry, like please don't kill us. But he's just like, you're my family. Killing you is not going to alter the past. It's fine. Let's just move on. And again, I really, really like it. All right, so Rebecca's father, Kairos. Yeah, I think it's Kairos. He is now also no longer a toy, so the king remembers who he is. The king is there in the throne room with Doflamingo, and Laza on the throne all beat up, and Luffy and Viola come in trying to save them, but everyone's like being held hostage. There's chaos as the former toy soldier, Kairos, attacks Doofy, but Doofy swings and kicks, nearly takes his head off, but Luffy puts him down. The force of the kick cuts the tower in half. At one point in time, Luffy is trying to get La out of the sea stone prism shackles that he's in, and La's just being there like, our alliance is over, we failed, we screwed up, like, if you untie me or if you get me out of here, I'm going to try to kill you. And Luffy's just like, hold still, I can't touch the prism, it'll hurt me, I'm trying to unlock this. And Viola's there just like, focus, be careful. And La's just like, are you not listening to me? And it's wonderful. And eventually Dofi has had enough, and this is when he activates the birdcage. So his strings go up and around and cage in the entire kingdom. And if you try to pass through, you're getting cut up. So when the meteors were called down, sliced into little itty bitty pieces. And This plays into the flashback that we'll talk about at the ends, but I don't like La being in this birdcage. So everyone gets knocked out of the castle. They have to throw La over their shoulder. He's getting dragged around like a rag doll this majority of this part of the arc, which is hilarious because he has to deal with the Straw Hats and Luffy specifically. But Doofy has now made a new game. He presents to the citizens of the island and explains the rules of this competition. Basically being, yeah, you're right. You now know that I manipulated events. I am the reason that the king attacked everyone. I've been lying to you all this time. So take your hatred and come up here and try to kill me, which you will fail. Or you can bring me the Straw Hats and the former royal family and the royal guard, and in exchange, I will let you live. If not, everyone is going to die. So we know, because he's not going to hold his end of the bargain, he is going to kill every single person in Dressrosa to make sure it does not get of what he's done and all the atrocities that he's responsible for. So now everyone is turning on everybody. It is a mad fight, no place safe, and even because God Usopp was given the highest bounty among them because he was the one who took out Sugar, and the people and the former toys then turn against him after they just hailed him as a god. So apparently the religion that is started by Usopp is not as loyal as the cult of Buggy. So Kairos goes off and he's swearing that he's going to take down Doflamingo because of what happened with Rebecca and his family and to save the king and put the royal family back in place. We also have the people we met in the Colosseum swearing that they are going to do this for Luffy, for what they've done for him, specifically the Conehead guy, and just protecting everything and everything he's done already in Dressrosa. And Luffy is just like, all of you stay out of my way. Dofi is mine. I'm going to do it for Rebecca because she gave me 3 lunches. And La is just like, you're doing this for food? Because he's already told Luffy, if we take down Doflamingo, the point of the plan was to destroy the Smile Factory so we could get an Emperor of the Sea, Kaido, mad at him. And if we take down Doofy, it'll be our fault, and therefore the Emperor of the Sea will be coming after us. And Luffy, who already has one Emperor mad at him, Big Mom, is just like, didn't you hear me? She bought me 3 lunches. I'm going to save her kingdom, even if that means risking my life, having to overthrow this Doflamingo dynasty, and having 2 Emperors of the Sea coming after me. It's worth it. She bought me 3 lunches. She also tried to kill me right after that, but 3 lunches. So, Monkey D. Luffy, everybody, we love him so very much. And then, so we got everyone fighting to get up to the top of the levels where the Doflamingo is, and some are doing it to repay Luffy for honor, for pride, for fame. Yeah, because Cabbage is there, he wants fame. And they're all working kind of against each other to one-up each other to get there first. So it's a race to the top, but eventually they all kind of more or less join forces, like clear the way. And La is still thrown over Luffy's shoulder, being dragged along. On the bright side, it means he's conserving his power. They find Mumi, the bull from the arena, who recognizes Luffy, and they're reunited and they're charging on. And then, so they have Viola has the key to unlock La, but she's back with her father and who else is there? Robin and Usopp and some of the other ones. So she needs to get the key to them. And Rebecca says, I will take it. And Bartholomew and Robin go with her to try to meet Luffy at the top or level 4 or whatever to give the key to unlock La. And they have these little beetle things that aren't strong enough to keep a human flying, but enough to like kind of slow their fall. And they're kind of just bouncing and hovering and slow falling and jumping off to make it there. And they get caught up with these massive toy soldiers that are like a bunch of people all in one combined together because Sugar's back to being a terror. And, hold on, no. Rebecca gets ahead, so makes it to the place first because Bartholomew and Mew and Robin have to stay behind to allow her to get ahead, but they end up running into Luffy and Law first. And Bartholomew, which I still feel like I'm saying his name wrong, so the cannibal. Bartholomew, I swear I looked this up first. I'm still probably saying it wrong, but still. Is like, I will make a staircase barrier so you can run up and get there in time, and I will protect you with my own body and my life. You will not be harmed, because he can only make so much of a barrier. So, using all his power to make the stairs to get Luffy to safety to reach Rebecca, he has to get beaten up himself. It's like, I would die for you. And then my darling girl, Robin, is like, that is right. I understand your need to protect Luffy, because protecting the captain is worth the risk to our lives. And she looks at the enemy attacking, giant hands grow up from the ground, and she's like, I will give my life. You will not touch Luffy. God love this angel. Oh, I love Robin so much. And our lovely cannibal who is just obsessed with the Straw Hats. Like, he's seen Zoro fight and nearly passed out from how much he loved and was just in awe of this man. And I'm like, as you should, as you should. So Luffy makes it to the top. Law gets his handcuffs taken off, despite repeatedly having said, as soon as I get these taken off, I'm going to kill you, Straw Hat. He does not attack Luffy and gets them both inside, allowing Rebecca and her father to reunite, because he also made it there. And the father, Kairos, is going to be attacking the man who had killed his wife and threatened his daughter all these years. So that's going to be a fun fight for in the future, because I haven't made it there yet. But meanwhile, I had mentioned that Sugar is back. So Law doesn't, I guess, know who Sugar is, turning everyone into toys. She must not have been there, maybe, when before. So she's coming up on them. And Usopp knows that they have to protect Luffy. And in combination with Viola, who with her seeing powers, he's able to be directed to line up, like, okay, where are they? This degree, this window from this one, the panels are this big, the bars on the gates are this far apart, or bars on the windows are this far apart. You got a wind coming in here. And he's just like, I can make the shots. And he starts seeing the aura of the people. So I guess he's getting his observational haki, unless there's another type of power. And he's just like, I can see them. I got this. And he fires his bullet, which is actually made from Kinemon's friend, who he had rescued earlier. Completely forgot about this. That has an art drawing power that allows him to make whatever drawings he wants real come to life. And he's a very bad artist, but he was able to draw that scary, weird looking face of Usopp. So when he shot it, it projected that and it knocked Sugar out again. So God Usopp did a absolutely wonderful job in this, and he's showing his skill as a sniper, and I respect Usopp so much. Like, he's going up on my list of favorite characters for this arc alone. I loved what he did here. All right, so we're at the quote-unquote end battle, and Luffy and Law are up there ready to fight Doflamingo, and we know that Law has a grudge against Doflamingo from 13 years ago, where he is responsible for killing the one person that is responsible for Law being alive, Corazon, who, I'm pretty sure that's actually a title, not his full name, but regardless, who was Dofi's brother. So Doflamingo, who is this big thing about family, or at least chosen family and his men that he has taken in, killed his own brother. This man needs to die. And Bellamy is also there, beaten and broken and at Doflamingo's feet. And I know he must have a bigger role to play eventually, just because he was loyal to Doflamingo, fell from grace, wanting to come back. Even after Hitman was sent after him, he still went back to him because he respected him so much and wanted to make amends. He's gone to Sky Island. He's had his perspective change. He is now friends with Luffy, whether he likes or not. Luffy considers you a friend. You don't have a say in the matter. So I'm excited to see what's going to become of him. But right now, he is just being puppeted and controlled by Doflamingo, because when Luffy charges to attack Doflamingo for what he's done to Bellamy here, Doflamingo just moves him in front of him, so he takes the full punch, and Luffy's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. And Law's just like, calm down, we gotta think this through. Luffy's not one for planning. So when they can't get around the marionettes that Doflamingo made to fight them, as well as Bellemere, who refuses, and Luffy doesn't want to fight him, or sorry, Bellamy doesn't want to fight him, Luffy's just like, hey, remember that super secret technique we were working on? Let's do it now. And Law's just like, no, it's too soon. We can't do this. Luffy's just like, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. So let's go. And he charges, and Law uses his room and shambles technique to switch places. So it gets Luffy around the marionette and Bellamy, so he can punch Doflamingo with everything he has. And it's a strong punch, but it's not enough. And Law's just like, great, you weren't able to take him out, and now that technique is not going to work again. However, it did get me seeing this image of Law on like Dofi's throne, and I did really like that. So, quite honestly, worth it. And now we are going in to Law's flashback. As we had been mentioned previously, that he was a member of the Doflamingo gang, having gone to them as a child with bombs strapped around him, saying, I have 3.5 years left to live, and I want to cause as much mayhem and destruction in that time as I can, so let me join your crew. And I had meant to end the chapter breakdown here, kind of thing, of what I thought of the review, but there was no way in hell I wasn't going to keep reading to see what the hell Law's backstory was. So let's go into that now. All right, so much was happening in these flashbacks. So we'll start with Law specifically. He was born in a place where this white lead had been found, and the nobles and rich people and the government seen how much money they could make from it. So they had people dig it up, and it was harmless when it was in the ground, but once you extract it and work with it and breathe in, I guess, the dust and everything like that, it causes disease in the body that is passed on down through the generations, shortening your life. And Law now has this white lead disease? And side note that I didn't notice until I was going back and organizing notes, I take screenshots of certain chapter panels if I have a question about something, and there's a scene where he's just like, after he had the shackles removed and he had been shot a bunch of times, so he's just like, I just did an operation on myself and removed these bullets. Of course he had to use lead bullets. I'm like, was that like the white lead bullet that was like a message kind of thing? I don't know, but I feel like, because at the time I'm like, what other kind of bullets could it have been? Could he have shot him with sea stone prism, melted down into bullets? No, I think it was the fact that it's a message from his hometown. Regardless, I'm getting sidetracked. So everyone is dying, and the world government, who were okay with the lying to the population about how dangerous this material was that they were having the poor harvest and dig up, is just like, you know what, let's also not correct people who think this is a disease that can be spread and is contagious. So when that place gets quarantined and everyone's dying and people are getting killed for having this disease in an attempt to not let it spread, even though we know it can't spread, yeah, you know what, it's better if everyone dies so they don't know our involvement and how we hid the truth from people. That's fine. So government can go to hell. We have children and I think like a nun-looking girl being evacuated. It's like, oh, they're going to let us leave. It's fine. I'm pretty sure they all must get killed as well, because I don't trust the government to have them safely extract it. But Law is just like, little tiny kid Law is just like, I can't leave. I can't leave my family. My sister is sick. Law has a sister, and she is dying from this disease, and I'm trying to make her happy, and his father is a doctor, and he's teaching him everything he needs to know, and then he returns, and the hospital his sister is at is in flames. His sister is dead. His parents are dead. The only way he escaped his country and got smuggled out, even though he himself has this disease that people are being killed for, is because he hid in a pile of dead bodies to get away. And now he just wants to cause as much pain and devastation and destruction to the government and everyone responsible for his home being destroyed as he possibly can. And honestly, fair. So he goes to Doflamingo's group and is just like, I want to join. And they're like, yeah, we take kids, so come on in. Most are like driven away after like 3 days to a week, though, because Corazon over there really hates kids. We come to learn that he's doing this to drive the kids away to save them, because he knows what an evil, manipulative brother he has. But we also have so many flashbacks and like a montage of Law growing up with Baby Five and Buffalo and the rest of the Doflamingo gang that it's just like they were a family. They were a dysfunctional, violent, evil family, but they were a family. And to know what becomes of him, and he had to turn away from them, and whatever little happy memories he must have had with like the Baby Five and Buffalo, I'm like, oh, my heart aches for La so very much. We see panels of Doflamingo waking up from nightmares of his own childhood, because this man has been through hell, and I don't appreciate Oda making me sympathize for villains I want to hate, but actually that actually makes me hate and respect them more in good writing, but regardless. So, Doflamingo, being a celestial dragon, his father had kind of left the celestial dragons to go live among humans, because he's like, well, we are human, and the celestial dragons are just like, you're crazy, you're lumping us in with humans, never come back here again. So the celestial dragon family goes down, and child Doflamingo is just like, hey, where are all the slaves? Let's go buy some. Why are people not bowing to me in the streets? How dare you cross my path? Father, shoot them. Bring me a pistol. And you can see he is just an evil little brat, but he's been raised to be an evil little brat. And now he's living in very luxurious wealth, because they did bring their fortune with them, only for the townspeople to go against them because they're like, hey, they're disgraced dragons. It's fine. We can take all the anger and hatred and vengeance that we had out on this family. And then you hear about one lady is just like, my daughter was taken as a slave and she returned to us only to be traumatized and not speaking, killed herself 3 days later. And then someone else is just like, I was a slave, they took my eyes for fun. And they put all the hatred, very valid hatred, onto this family that has left the celestial dragon. So the husband and wife, they're probably decent people, and the little brother is fine, but Doflamingo is just, has, as he has said, experienced living in heaven only to fall and live in hell. And God, that must have broke him, because as they're living now in poverty, they've been chased out, lost everything, living in the slums, eating from garbage. The father is just like, please just let the children return, or let my wife and children return. I will stay here. And the dragons are just like, what is tossed aside may never come back, more or less. And the mother, she dies from sickness, leaving the father and the two sons, who are then like hung up and from the side of a building, being half strangled, being pelted and tortured. And Doflamingo is just screaming, I'm going to kill you all. And the father's just like, take me, take my life, but don't kill my sons. And Corazon guy is just crying as his family is destroyed. And it is Doflamingo who kills his own father in rage for bringing them into this hell to begin with. And little 8-year-old Corazon guy, he gets taken in, actually, after he runs away, by the Navy. So he goes undercover with the Navy to spy on the Doflamingo family once he came back at like age 13 to try to stop them. So he's been delivering all this hidden information to try to stop that family because he knows what a monster his brother is. When he hears about La being a member of the D, so he says, my name is D La, he's just like, you cannot let anyone know that. So this was when it was revealed. Sadly, it was spoiled for me earlier, or I would have been shocked. I would have been, But it did add an extra shock to me because La doesn't think it's a big deal. He said the D is an alias. And I'm like, what do you mean it's an alias? Does D stand for something longer? Is it an organization? Is it a group? Is it of the deep? Is it, you got G8? Is it D? Is it an organization? I don't know. But I feel now there's more to the D, if it's an alias, that could be given. So it might have become a family name, but it might have been based off something else in that old world in the hidden history. I don't know, but we have a scrap of more information. Corazon is just like, you don't understand. Those with the will of D and D bring the storm, and they're destined to fight against God. And then it was like the world government thinks themselves to be God, and the celestial dragons thinks they are gods. And I'm like, they're meant to fight, apparently. So it's like, you have to get away from Doflamingo. You can't be around him if you are a member of the D family. It's not safe for you. But La was like, no. Also, you can talk because you've been pretending to be mute all this time. So what the hell's with that? I'm going to go and tell Doflamingo everything I know about you and probably get you killed. But when he gets there, Corazone's shocked to see that La had kept his mouth shut, and La's just like, I stabbed you that one time as a kid, or last year, and you didn't turn me in, which would have got me killed. You said an enemy did it, so how about we just call it even? And they kind of bond, and then Corazone's just like, you know what? I need to save this child. We're getting away from the Doflamingo. So they abandon ship, and he calls Doofy and being like, I got La with me. I'm going to go try to kill or save his illness, have him cured. And yeah, we'll catch up later. So he leaves for 6 months, and in that time, he's no longer able to sneak information to Sengoku and the other military people, so they can't intercept and stop the Doflamingo family from what they're doing, which causes Dofi to get suspicious because he's like, awful convenient. The Navy's no longer breathing down me and infiltrating and getting in the way of all my plans now that my brother's left. There's no way my brother was a spy, though. He would never do that to me. Meanwhile, La and Corazon are going to all the different hospitals trying to see if anyone's had a cure, because so much time has passed. Certainly there's a cure for this white lead disease, but every doctor who sees him is just like, you have this disease, sterilize the area, kill him, call the guards, get out of here, how dare you put my other patients at risk, still thinking it's contagious. And Corazon's just like taking people out, screaming. He's so upset that people are treating La this way, and he's forcing La to relive this trauma and being told he's a monster and not worth living, not worth trying to get care and help, and he should just go die somewhere. I hate every single one of these doctors. So Corazon has the power of like the silence fruit, mellow, and is able to cut off sound, which is good for like a nice sleep, but La just says that's a stupid power. And when Corazon learns that the Op fruit, so the one that future La has been found and the pirates are going to sell it to the Doflamingo group, he's just like, we need to get that. That is going to be the fruit that can cure you, because in the hands of a doctor, it is insanely powerful. It's insanely powerful on its own, but can really be taken its full advantage from a doctor. Now, Dofi doesn't know that his brother has already eaten the mellow fruit and wants him to eat the Op fruit to become his doctor, but really it will be so he can use the ultimate power of it to give immortality to someone else at the cost of your own life. So Corazon knows that his own brother wants him to take this fruit and eat it to give Dofi immortality, and in result will kill him, which is just rude, because at this point I'm pretty sure Dofi only has like the thinking that he's probably been betrayed by his brother. Side note, so because we know that La has this fruit now and can give immortality, my first thought was, oh, okay, so previously Luffy had been given, like I said, it'll probably cost you 10 years of your life if Iva gives you these hormones to save your life and cure the poison and all that you've been through. So we're cutting down on Luffy's lifespan. So obviously, I'm thinking La is going to use this ultimate power on a dying Luffy to save him and give him immortality, because Luffy can never die. This man he can never die. It's not allowed. But obviously, that can't happen, because Luffy is not going to allow his now friend to sacrifice his life to save him. Luffy's not going to allow that. Once you're Luffy's friend, you have no say in the matter. He's very selfish. He's like, you're my friend. You don't get to decide to die for me. Which means I'm thinking Luffy will actually die, and then the crew will have to go to the underworld to save him and bring him his soul back to the world of the living, because we know souls are a thing. And if Roger is not the ultimate villain, like I'm playing with my theory game, it'll probably be Roger and Luffy having a conversation in the underworld about the Will of D, about inheritance of will, about what it means to be a good captain, about what it means to be a pirate king, about found family, and it'll be beautiful, and Roger will help allow for the resurrection of Luffy, who will then go up and fight in a war with the poneglyphs, ancient weapons, and all that. So I can see something like that playing out. But we're going to hell eventually, I think, because Luffy needs to die because he's not going to allow someone to save him, and then he needs to be resurrected because Luffy. Moving on. Where was I? So Corazon goes to the pirates and steals it first, and he puts good use to his silencing powers as no one can hear him enter. And then when he cuts out all the lights, no one can communicate with each other to stop him. So he steals the fruit, but he's very, very clumsy. And he falls and he gets caught and he takes all these bullets and he's bleeding and dying, but he still manages to get to La and force feed him this fruit. So now La has the power to operate and save himself and possibly save others, because the previous owner of this fruit saved so many people's lives. And now he gives La the last little message. He's like, get this to any Navy man and it will save Dressrosa because it'll stop the Doflamingo family. And La takes this and he runs, and he's following his friend's not dying, but he's very injured wish, and gives it to the first Navy officer he sees, who happens to be that Vero buddy that works for Doflamingo. And my heart sunk, and I just shouted no at my iPad when I seen that man. I'm like, the one person. How oh, I was pissed. So very pissed. So then Vero guy goes back with La, sees Corazon, sees him shot and bleeding, reads the paper, you betrayed the family, punches him or kicks him in the face, calls up Doofy, and Doflamingo comes and is going to kill his brother for betraying him. But Corazon gets La away and is just like, I'm going to protect you. And he puts him in a treasure chest because he knows that the pirates are going to take any treasure back with them, and this is the only way to smuggle them out, as Doofy has put the birdcage all over the island so they can't escape otherwise. And this is why I didn't like La being in the birdcage before, because it's probably bringing back very bad memories for him. So La's just like, well, what about you? And Corazon's just like, it's okay. Doofy's gonna be very mad at me for what I did, but I'm his brother. He's not going to kill me. Everything will be fine. I promise. I love you. And La believes him because he's an innocent little child who thinks Doofy actually loves his family and his brother. His brother obviously knows he's about to die, so he puts him down, and in talking to Doofy, but really talking to La, he says that, I'm sorry I lied to you, but yes, I am a Navy man. I have been for a while, and La's just like, I already knew that, you idiot. I forgave you for that. I don't mind. Just don't die. And he had put the silencing on him so no one can hear La inside the treasure chest. And Doofy kills his brother. He shoots him dead. But he's not completely dead. He's hanging on to what little life he has so that La can scream and grieve and cry in this treasure chest without anyone hearing him, without him getting caught. And my actual God, this man is focusing on staying alive so La can scream and cry and get away without being heard. And I was heartbroken. I need more from this man. I need so much more. Can we get more on him? And his history with the Navy and Sengoku and all the things he had been plotting to try to overturn Doflamingo. Because he's a good man, and now I love La because La loved him. And I already love La because La protected Luffy, and they're now friends. And it's just wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. We are back to the present. They are fighting. And I had to stop there because I figured this video would be close to an hour long, and I needed to take a break. Editing Jessica popping in because there's a panel here that I'm not sure about. Am I supposed to know who this is? Because at first I thought was Bellamy, but then I'm like, it doesn't quite look like him, so I checked in the anime and the color's wrong. So am I supposed to know who this is? It was someone running away during the initial birdcage as La as a child, and the Navy had said, we got a boy, and they thought it was La, and that's how they thought La got away. They thought La got in with the Navy, but really he was in the treasure chest. I don't know if I'm supposed to know who this is. All right, back to video. All right, so that's the end of the second part of Dressrosa. We have one more part to go. I don't know what other heartbreak Oda has installed for me, but that crying in a treasure chest really hit me. So that's all I got for now. I will check in later. So many good character moments. Yeah. Bye.